Vroom vroom, it's Hotrod time. Let me start this video by apologizing for the autofocus, which I forgot to turn off while I was doing these recordings, because these were mostly made for fun. On Instagram, I just threw out a question, who wants me to draw what? And there came in quite a lot of questions and people asking me to draw things. And this was one of them, and it was Hotrod. And why I'm doing this as well is because my girlfriend had a whole bunch of paper left over, and neither of us likes wasting stuff. So these are cute little pieces of paper, and they're perfect for just sketching, where you don't really have to worry about what you're doing. And since it's sort of I don't want to say a trash piece of paper, but it would get thrown away, I'm also not putting too much energy and effort into it. So the sketch has absolutely no constraints. So it's really just fun. So I had two different approaches here, mostly because the first card that I drew, for some reason I didn't like so much. And the first one is like a direct construction with the fine liner. As you can see, I'm sort of building the boxes around the car on which I am going to draw every piece of the car. And what I did here also, I sort of switched the camera angle. So while I was looking at a image for reference at a Hotrod car, I wanted to draw it from a different angle than what I was seeing. And because of that, I mean, I still like the angle and I still like how it came out. I don't know, something was bothering me when I was drawing it. Now, looking back at it, I like it quite a bit more, to be honest. But yeah, as per usual, I am doing it's really fun to do the construction here, because then you do a lot of projections and you try to think about and you try to really, well, not mathematically, but place the elements as they would be in correct space. And if you don't do this, sometimes it just doesn't come out as it should be. You can see it within the proportions of the car that something is way off. Our brain doesn't really notice it directly, but subconsciously we see that something is off. And I think that was bothering me here and there. Maybe maybe on the front of the car, the wheel on the other side is a bit further away. Something like that must have bothered me, because other than that, just for a quick sketch, as I said, since these are throwaway papers, I think it's fine. I can totally live with it. And yeah, once I'm done with this, we will move on to the second part. Until then, enjoy some music and a little bit of sketching. Alright, and with that piece of paper out of the way, we can get started with our second Hotrod. And in this case, as you can see, I moved on to my markers. As per usual, I like using my gray markers, and especially the lighter gray markers for sketching, instead of using a pencil. just because I don't smudge with a pencil. If I put down lines, I'm definitely gonna smudge whatever is on the paper, and like this, it remains nice and crisp. Well, as crisp as I want the lines to be. And here I do a little bit of less construction lines, just because I can just draw over and over again, and the grain lines will not be as distractive and visible as if I was drawing directly with the fine liner. And once I get started with putting in the actual lines, you can also see that while I'm still doing a fairly industrial designery sort of approach, it has a little bit of more illustrative feeling to it, just because I don't have these strong construction lines that you could see in the previous drawing. So I can pay a little bit more attention to my lines, and I think also automatically I start adding more detail, just because I have that underlay on the under drawing for my car. I feel like, okay, now I have more freedom to add a bit of more detail. And what happens in the styles a little bit, it's really how people feel about it. This one I feel sometimes loses that energy that you have within a fully constructed sketch, just because as I said, I am paying a little bit more attention. Maybe some of my lines will be more rigid here than otherwise. One thing that I cannot get away, and it is, well, if you want to call it industrial design, it is just very sketchy, is the ellipses of the wheels. That's unless you have one of those rulers that have the ellipses in with the different types of ellipses, this is how it's gonna be. Or you do like a full illustratory approach and you just slowly trace the lines, which I don't like necessarily. I want my whole drawing to be in that style. Not like wheels like this and everything else is like full ID sketchy style. So you can see that those wheels have a million lines in them, but as I always say, I'm fine with that, because your brain will choose the ones that are important or make sense anyway, so I don't stress too much about that usually. And for the rest, I also left some parts out. I really like that first approach where you have a lot of the mistakes that happen because of the direct drawing with the pen. I left out some details that I'm going to do with the pen, like for example the engine. I'm just coming up with something. I didn't even look up at the reference, because I was just like, okay, I'll make something up. If there are particular, well, I didn't look up a reference. Of course, I was looking at the car, so that's what I forgot to say here, that here I didn't move the car out in a different position, so I was drawing it exactly in the same position that I saw it on the reference. So that's the angle that I saw the engine at, but I didn't look at a different engine, zoom in to see what the details are. Unless there are some really extreme car buffs, it really doesn't matter that much how detailed that engine is, because that's not the purpose of this drawing. It was just for sketch and for fun. And since I drew in the beginning with the markers, so I have that underlay sketch, it becomes a little bit dirty, and I thought, like, since that's already there, let me just go in and do a full, well, not a full rendering, but a sketchy style rendering with my gray markers, and that's what you can see me do now, and that's what I will be doing for the rest of the video. It's also interesting maybe for you to see not two really different approaches, but slightly different approaches. You can have so many approaches to drawing, whatever fits you best and whatever you enjoy the most. But yeah, these were the two approaches for Hotrod that somebody asked on Instagram, and I had actually a lot of fun with both of these, especially now looking back. I am happy that there's still a couple of these papers left on my bench. I just checked, and I'm gonna do some more of these in the future as well, just because they are a load of fun. But yeah, and that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can hit that like button, subscribe, all the usual stuff. The most important thing is get some paper for yourself, some cheap paper that you have laying around, and just have some fun sketching. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't try to make a masterpiece. Have some fun, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.